So what I thought I'll share why digital transformation, why it has suddenly become important, why people are talking about digital transformation. What exactly is digital transformation? Because every individual thinks digital transformation to be very different things. What are the myths around digital transformation? So I'll share some of those myths, learnings as to what are my own learnings from digital transformation journey, and finally we'll just summarize. In between we'll have questions, anything, everything. You can interrupt me at any time. You can write on a chat. So Mukesh, as you would be reading the chat. If there's any question, just interrupt me there and then, and I'll try to answer. And if I'm not able to answer, then maybe we'll request others to answer. And at the end, it has to be a learning experience for all of us. Okay. So as I generally start, I just wanted to start with a story rather than getting into what is blockchain and what is robotics and what are the new technologies that are hitting and what SAP is doing or not doing on digital transformation, or what Hero is doing or not doing. So I'm not getting into that at this stage. Maybe let's see if as we move forward I could. But this is my favorite slide. That there was a time, whether you are an SAP lead, I met somebody who was an SD lead, I just met some IT heads, few other people. Everyone had a peaceful life and everyone is happy taking care of SAP. I've done my basis job. I have done 3 transports for the day. I've written 4 ABAP programs. I've done some bit of SD programming. I've taken care of network, security, internet, everything, and I'm happy and my life is generally cool. Why bother about anything else? But what has happened over last 10 to 12 years, when I say 10 to 12 years, is that let's all imagine, go back. So today we are in 2020. So let's go back to say 2009, 10, more around 2010 than 9 or 8. So last 10 odd years, things have suddenly started changing. So the word is, from an IT perspective and from business perspective, has really undergone a change, and everyone was hit by not many buzzwords. So there is a joke which goes around that every few weeks, few months, consultants do come up with a new buzzword. So, but the reality is that each one of us have seen those buzzwords. While initially they seem to be buzzword, but reality is as we work on them, they become part of our life, whether it was, so when you're being hit by all these words, whether it was social media, cloud, analytics, mobility. So who had imagined way back in 2008, 9, 10, or even up to 12, 13, that social media will become so prevalent, it will really drive anything and everything we do. Cloud will really become part of our lives. We are always at that time discussing whether this cloud will rain, not rain, what will happen. People are discussing concepts of, is private cloud really good? Should I move to public cloud? Hybrid, no one knew at that time. But today, cloud has become part of life. Analytics, again, was more into MIS reporting at that time. And people was wondering, maybe I create 2 dashboards and that's the end of analytics. And mobility, mobile, maybe not 10 years, even prior to that, 15, 20 years back, it started. So it was more, even till 10 years back, at the most, each one of us would have an email on the mobile, and we are happy that we have email access. Who would have imagined that after a few years, you actually don't need a laptop, you don't need a PC, and everything and anything can be done on a mobile. So that's how, when these words came at that time, each one of us was thinking as to, will it really change the way word is going to change, or are these really buzzwords? Now we see after 5-10 years that yes, these have become part of our life on a day-to-day basis. Well, various other things came, but I'll just keep 3 more buzzwords which came in, which is bar, and most of you would know bar is not the bar that you might be imagining, but it is about blockchain, artificial intelligence, robotics. So again a new term came, who till on 2 years back we would never imagine as to blockchain. You'll think that, okay, there's something being done. Artificial intelligence, again, people are wondering as to what exactly it would be, how it will really change the world. Even today, many people are still wondering whether AI is going to be the biggest game changer on earth. Robotics, again, whether it is now the newer version of RPA or other stuff, I think, again, these terms have been coming. Some of us are thinking whether they will really deliver the promise. But as I feel, as we have seen in case of cloud or social or analytics or mobility, even these would become mainstream. They will take their own time. Maybe blockchain could take slightly longer time. AI could come slightly earlier. Robotics could come even earlier. RPA, most of the organization has already started working. We do a lot of stuff on RPA. So that's kind of, these are becoming mainstream. And then this term which came as to the whatever digital we are doing, it's not just at the front end. We are not just thinking of only the customer sales part of it, some bit of planning. So it's not that, but digital is really getting back into the manufacturing. It's getting into those shop floors which had never seen digital except for some Excel sheets and some ERP, some SAP screens over there. But digital is really transforming manufacturing in a big way. So which is the so-called term of smart manufacturing, which is now really coming up. Again, who had imagined maybe 8-10 years back that Industry 4.0 would really become a big buzzword, not just in India or in Germany where it was, but right up to Davos, where political leaders, where business leaders are discussing, this becomes a part of life. So that's how many of these terms, which when they come in, we always think that these are the buzzwords and maybe they're there just because consultants want to make money. But reality is that as things progress, they really get into mainstream. And that's how even Industry 4.0 is already getting into mainstream in many of the organizations, including ours and things like that. And then some of the other terms, whether it is today people are talking of hyper-automation, connected retail, computer vision, quantum computing, IoT, of course, all of us know as to what IoT is all about, or the next step of IoT, which is industrial IoT. A lot of people are talking about mobile first, cloud first as their key strategy, multi-experience, AR, VR. We started with augmented reality, virtual reality. Then the people said, no, forget AR, VR. It is about MR, which is mixed reality. So there's a lot of new things which are coming up on a daily basis, almost as we speak. And some of them I have put in over here. And at the same time, there's a huge amount of kind of new technology which is coming in from cybersecurity perspective, privacy. All those things are coming, and then there are a lot of people who might be tracking these. Some of you would have seen these are the top 30 technologies as per, or new age technologies as per some people that people need to really track. And you can see at number 14, cybersecurity, the newer parts of cybersecurity where AI plays a huge role, detection, both in detection, remediation, or quantum computing and other stuff. So there's a lot of new buzzwords which are coming. And then as we were moving on this, over last 8-10 years, again, then this thing came that there's a new generation. The people who are using this entire technology, or people who are using our products, because each one of us as an organization has customers. So who are these guys? They are Gen Z guys. So their thought process, their thinking is very different. Again, these are the buzzwords which are really impacting each one of us in our day-to-day decisions. And we say that today's generation is really I generation. And this has become so true as in the current pandemic situation, we know that even kids of nursery class are today doing their Zoom classes and Google Hangout classes. So the world has really changed. Who would have imagined over till even 6 months back that a 3-year-old kid or 4-year-old kid would be doing his or her classes on a Zoom. And the new term which over last 1 year, the new buzzword which has really gained ground is digital transformation. So it has really, so people are talking about, if you, in your organization, if you're not talking about digital transformation, that means maybe you're missing out something. Whether you know what digital transformation is, not what it is, people who are talking about whether they understand digital transformation, that apart. But everybody, it's like 8 years back, 10 years back, everyone was talking about cloud, and a lot of people, even when they would put in their servers in a hosted environment, would say that I'm on cloud. So this is what the current state of digital transformation is, that a lot of people are doing certain stuff, a lot of automation people are doing, and they think that that's digital transformation. But irrespective, I'm not getting into that piece today. But digital transformation is something which is actually there today, and people are talking about digital transformation in a big way. Now the question comes, okay, for each one of us, if it is the new word, if everyone is talking of digital transformation, why should I really care? I don't care. I'm happy with my life. I have a peaceful life. Why should I care? So,
Sir,
question that.
So before you move into that section, I think we have a question which says that, given that all of these new technology and these new things are coming up, so how do you manage the skill sets of these new technology within your team? This is just too many things happening. The other question is digital transformation business specific scenario? And if not, then if you can share an example of
So
that
maybe I like both the questions. I like both the questions. I'll answer both the questions, but I'll answer it in few minutes as we move forward. Maybe what Mukesh, if it's okay with you, can you just keep these two particular questions? Not that I'm saying other questions, but these two questions, since I'll be covering them in my presentation, so I don't want to. But these two questions are very valid questions, and I'll answer these. So do keep them in mind.
Sure, sir.
Okay.
Sure, okay. Sir. Please go on.
So the question that I wanted to first ask before I answer is from the participants as to why should a company or why should a CIO or why should a SAP SD lead or a SAP lead or anyone else really care about digital transformation? Any thoughts? We'll just wait for 1.5 minutes. Either you can speak out or preferably we write on chat and Mukesh can read out certain words as to why digital transformation? How does it really help? Why should I even bother about digital transformation? There are so many things that come in my life. They come and go. Consultants say whatever they have to say. But why should I really bother about this?
This is Nitan this side. Yeah, I would like to add here what you said is in answering that, I would say that the business all over the world is changing, the way business is being done. So in terms of how the way business is run in India or anywhere in the world, that we need to relook at our strategies, how the work which is being done manually, how it can be automated, because that can add value both in terms of commercials and in terms of the way things are done. Everything needs to be relooked. We can look at a lot of examples all over the world, the way it has changed, whether it is Uber, Ola, Airbnb, there's a major transformation in the world. So whatever the current business scenarios in which we are working, we need to relook into that in terms of how we can transform that.
Okay. Nitin, you said you're Nitin? Sorry.
Yeah, I am Nitan Tiwari. I am from NSDC.
Okay, Nitan, let me just maybe jump into my slides, some of those slides, and let me comment on some of these things. What you said is right, but I'll just add one thing. Mukesh, I'll come back to you in a minute. Just wanted to say a comment over here. See, one thing is, Nitan, and for all of us, digital transformation and automation are two different things. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. So it's not about automating, it's about transforming, the word that you used. I'll come back to you whether Airbnb and Uber and Ola are really digital transformations or they're something different. I'll just answer that. Maybe first let me hear a couple of other comments also, and then before I move to my next slide, I'll answer that also. Yeah, go ahead, Mukesh.
So I think most of them are saying, if I kind of summarize all the responses on the chat, they fall in one of three buckets. So one is around survival, that world is changing, everyone is changing, and so if you don't do digital transformation, if you don't get on that, the chances of survival gets lower. The second one kind of falls into the fact that for example, enabling new business models. And how do you make it easier for your organizations and for your customers to do business with you? And there's one comment which says either we drive transformation or transformation drives us. So it is better that we drive it.
I like that.
And Vijayji also now, now the question is why not? Now it's not the question why we want a digital transformation. I think the question has flipped now. Why not? I think that is what is there. Why not a digital transformation?
Okay, wonderful. So any reason why you think why not?
Hello?
Any views why you think why not?
Yeah, I think views are. It is like once we talked about. It's a question of survival now.
Yeah,
If we have to
that's what came
survive,
here.
I think if you have to survive, you'll ask this question. If I have to survive, then why not this? So I think it's more of a question of survival, which is linked with that.
Correct. Okay. So let me first come to Nitan. Nitan, fantastic words. I really like the way, and I'm happy that you brought in that particular example of Uber and Airbnb. I think that's really nice. So thank you very much. There's a bit of difference. There's one more term that's called digital disruption. So there's a slight difference between digital disruption and digital transformation. Digital disruption is even the next step of digital transformation. So digital disruption, so you start with automation. From automation, we move on to digital transformation, and digital disruption is the next step. So what you went into rightly, and maybe I think you thought through well, is about digital disruption. So Airbnb, why it is the digital disruption, or why Uber or Ola, or for that matter, so many OYO rooms and others are digital disruptions, because they brought in a business model which is a very new business model which never existed. So they disrupted the entire industry. So OYO actually disrupted the entire hotel industry. Airbnb disrupted the hotel industry. Our friends from Uber and Ola disrupted that Kali Pili taxi industry and all the other guys, Hertz and others who were there. So which means that they were not transforming themselves. So there was no Airbnb as a company prior to that. There was no Uber company prior to that. Whereas in that digital transformation, what you do is you are looking at your current organization. You would tweak some business models, which is fair. You will tweak other stuff, your customer experiences, but you are doing it in the current organization. Whereas digital disruption is where you disrupt the entire industry. You're not really disrupting only your own company. So that's the slight difference that I wanted to bring in is to what Nitant you said. But I'm really happy that you brought in that particular point. Thank you very much. So coming to the why piece, and I really agree with whatever each one of you said. So let's look at number one. I think each one of us needs to ensure that we give value to the business. So whatever the business either pays to us or whatever spend on IT or any other thing, at the end, business has to generate money. What digital transformation really gives is to give you a multi-X business value. So if you invest 100 crores, you will actually get maybe 1,000, 1,500, depending on the way you can go up to that. So that's a huge amount of business value that's get generated. That's one reason as to why we should be doing digital transformation. But as someone rightly pointed out, it's not just that, it's also about growth. If in today's time, organizations have to grow, you need to ensure that your customer experience is better, you need to ensure that your products are competitive, your quality is fantastic. So you need to do a lot of stuff beyond automation, because automation all of us in our organizations have been doing for ages and ages. So you need to do something very different, and that's where the growth would now come in. And that's what companies want digital transformation. Of course, profits, as I said earlier, your investments, if in digital transformation done very well, the return on investment is very, very high. So it will help you in enhancing your profits a lot. But the most important part, as someone rightly said, and Mukesh, you read when you summarized, digital transformation in today's time is about survival. If the companies do not do digital transformation, I'm not too sure whether companies would exist after many years. Say, for example, in the last 4 months, I don't know how many of us would have really gone into markets and bought all those stuff, whether it is a dal or a sabji or atta or whatever it may be, or other stuff, but everything was digital. How many of us go to market and now want to pay cash? We are all scared. We want to pay via Paytms of this world or Google Pay or any other pay. So I think that's how many of these, how digital is really from our own perspective, from an end customer perspective, changing our expectations. And we expect that even if I'm talking to a company like Hero or maybe any other normal brick and mortar organization, I want the same experience I would have expected from a digital age company. So it is about survival, and that's where the biggest driver for digital transformation in the organizations today is. So the question that comes is, what exactly is digital transformation? Is it like that proverbial elephant where everyone thinks that this leg or this trunk is digital transformation? What exactly is digital transformation about? Again, we will spend 3-4 minutes over here. People can just write down their notes. If any one of you wants to speak out, that'd be fantastic. Otherwise, Mukesh, you can just read out. So again, we'll take 2-3-4 minutes into this. So what exactly is? So all of us have heard this term digital transformation, but what is digital transformation? Is it about whatever products, whatever programs that we write in ABAP or .NET or ABC or XYZ? Is it about making them better? Is it something else? Is it about changing the manual activities into something else? What is digital transformation?
It is a seamless connectivity between all our partners, okay, our employees.
Yeah. So it is, as you said, it's about seamless connectivity between partners and employees. Okay.
Partners, employees, and all stakeholders in our business.
So basically, it means that it's about networking.
It's about networking.
So that we put in good bandwidths, and that's how it can help us.
Bandwidth is only one part of the thing, but the majority of the different applications, seamless integration between different applications, connecting to the different stakeholders.
Okay. Okay. We'll just hear a couple of other guys.
I would like to add here, like currently organizations are digital, but the way the digital is being worked, that the transformation of digital activities, that is digital transformation. And
can you explain?
There are a number of technologies available in terms of transforming the digital activities which we are currently doing. Like the various technologies which you mentioned before, like the slide which you showed, the analytics, IoT, artificial intelligence, machine learning. Using these kind of technologies, cloud is facilitating in everything, get these done. Using all these technologies to the way the business is being done using digital technology, transforming that in a big way to achieve what can help the business, not only in profits or making from the business perspective, even making our jobs easier. At the end of the day, it may look the cost is high currently, but at a long run, it will make a lot of sense for the business.
Correct.
SK Gupta, he's raised his hand. So maybe you want to unmute yourself and.
Basically, if you talk about the transformation of the digital transformation, this is basically operational of a business through a 360 degree. Once you operate your business at a 360 degree, means I am sitting in my house and I can process any document. Whatever the document required to process the documents is already digitally available into the system. So that are the part of that system. So that you can say digital transformation. This is a connectivity and other things like digitizing of the documents and then other part of the business. So if I summarize all these things, so I can operate a business from a 360 locations. That is digital transformation.
Fantastic. Okay.
So
anyone else? Any one last more comment? Yeah.
Yeah. So let me summarize.
Swami here.
Yes, go on.
Yeah, I feel that it's a macro change of thought process, and if we have to go back to any business which has main factors of production, machinery, money, so on and so forth.
Material.
We have to think about how each of these factors of production, as well as the external environment, can work in more smarter ways. Because it is not an isolated thing. So if I do digitally transform my business But if the government is not willing to, digitalize its process, then I will not get the entire synergy out of this. So I believe it's a macro change of thought. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. Mukesh, you wanted to say something?
No, I was just trying to summarize
Go
all
ahead.
the chat comments. So
Yeah.
I think processes, redefining processes, redefining culture, and redefining how you engage with the different stakeholders is what digital transformation could be. So this kind of summarizes everything that
That's
everyone has on the chat.
So maybe before I move forward, you said redefining culture. If someone can just take 30 seconds, 1 minute to explain what do you mean by redefining culture? Anyone?
So I think
Yes,
there
you're
was a
talking
comment
of
by
technology, you're talking about other
Vishwaraj.
stuff. Suddenly, how does culture come into this entire thing?
So Vishwachari, I think he
Yeah.
mentioned that.
Okay.
If you would like to
So
explain.
basically, sir, like I mean, in current scenario, the way we are doing manufacturing, where I mean, people are not connected with their manufacturing shop floors with particularly machines. So everything is in silos basically. So we have a lot of I mean, data leakages and a lot of things. So I mean, changing culture means here we have to change the way we are working. So like right now, I mean, the various Excel sheets being filled up by supervisors, and the way we are doing I mean, creating various
Okay.
graphs. So I mean, we have to change the culture first and bring the machine in our environment and take the
Understood.
decision.
Understood. Thanks, Vishal.
So
Yeah.
there are a couple of guys who have raised hands. Maybe BK Arora, if you can go unmute yourself.
I can see
Vijay culture. Yeah, Vijay culture here is somewhere we can say the organization, the traditional mindset, whatever our whole employee, even somewhere the higher management also they want to stuck with whatever they are doing for last so many years, they still want to continue with it. Even they are ready to adopt the technology in terms of computer, software, hardware, software, ERP type of thing. But still their mindset is again that is the so culture means again we have to change their mindset or culture also. Okay, now this is cloud working and all others. So if we go to some employee or some department, so we simply ask you what your expectation automation. No, we say बहुत बढ़िया हमारा बहुत अच्छा चल रहा है. We don't we require suppose all is well. So still there is scope. So we, from IT perspective, we have to see whether they are happy with their working or routine basis, but how we can make their life more easier than right now they are doing.
Wonderful. Okay, let's move on.
Vikas Malhotra. Yeah.
Yes, so see, from organization culture, I understand that it is the thought process which needs to be changed, and it has to. You have to start it from yourself for changing the thought process and try to see the things from a different perspective altogether. It means the way we are working, and whenever you discuss with the person, aise hi chalta hai, this is the way we are doing business from last 25 years, and we have done wonderful things. We are number one in this. So I think that thought process needs to be changed. And first thing is that one person, he has to start from himself, that we have to change the thought.
Yeah, I heard you saying you have to start from yourself as you're telling me. So how can I start from myself in your organization? Okay, good, go ahead.
It's basically resistance to change, I suppose.
Okay. Perfect. We'll come to this as we move forward.
Mukesh, can I speak?
Maybe
yes,
just give me 5 minutes. Then maybe just after this section again we'll spend few minutes, so that we also progress. We're already at 11:43. So I think for many organizations, they think that digital transformation is a new buzzword, and it is to streamline operation efficiency, impress the end users with slick new interface. You create a very nice looking maybe an app. So that's not digital transformation. It is not. These just having a slick new interface or trying to impress users, but if it's not an integrated approach, which is aimed at delivering superior customer experience, is not digital. So digital transformation is ultimately aimed at the end customer. how do I deliver superior customer experience? So just by automation, just by putting in some nice fancy looking website or a fancy looking app, that is not DP. For a simple reason, I'll give you a conceptual reason. Say for example, if you have a very good app or a website and you tell the customer that you place your order over here and within 10 days or 2 days or 10 minutes you'll deliver, but your back-end delivery systems are not really aligned to a good customer experience, what would happen? So will that slick-looking interface really transform the organization, or it will help the stakeholders? No, it will actually create more problems for you. So it is not just about one part of the organization, it is the entire organization, where the entire organization starts thinking about delivering a superior customer experience. You also need to build a roadmap. Digital transformation is not something which you can do saying that tomorrow morning I am digitally transformed. There have to be a lot of capabilities, and someone asked about that question of capability. That's why I said that I'll talk about that later, and not at this moment, but I'll speak about that later. So you need to develop a roadmap. A lot of capabilities need to be developed within your own organization. How can you leverage digital technologies? So these technologies are available. So if you look at, you can go to market and you can get hundreds of startups which can give you something on AI. Some hundreds of startups which could give you something on maybe robotics or on IoT or on any other things, or even larger organizations, not just startups, even larger organizations. But that's just bringing in that software and trying to implement is not digital transformation. If we want to create a roadmap and say that if I put this, will it take my business to a different level? So it has to start from business as to why I am putting anything and how it is going to impact my business and not my day-to-day efficiencies. So that is one big difference from a digital transformation and a normal automation perspective is, it is to create or modify existing business processes, culture, the point that's why I wanted to focus, and I have a couple of slides on culture as I move forward, and create a very different customer experience. Why do I need to do that? Because the customer requirements, customer thought process, mindset, everything is changing today. So we need to meet those requirements. I cannot really be servicing the customer the way I used to service the customer even last year, because the customer himself or herself is so evolving because of all the technologies that are happening in everybody's life, that as an organization, if we have to survive, we really need to create either new ones or modify the existing business processes. And link part is, of course, the culture part has to be there. And why suddenly this? Because I'll not spend much time, but we know that computing power has really increased over the last few years. Connectivity, someone spoke about. We are talking of 5G already. A lot of trials are being done. And of course, the sensors and the server sizes are coming down. So digital is actually the technologies. That's why now people are talking about digital transformation, and not they were earlier, because technology was not available, because internet connectivity was not available, or the sizes were not available. But the key thing in digital transformation is this. If I should just summarize the entire digital transformation, not that this is my last slide, I have not other slides, but if I should just summarize my digital transformation, if each organization has to do, it has to change its mindset, thought process, to keep customer as the center of universe. Anything that I'm doing, any activity, intervention with respect to technology. Right now, our interventions are, okay, I have these two things. I have these two systems where one guy is doing some manual activity. Can I just automate this? Can I do this? Can I just do this small thing? Customer is not really at the center of universe of all these things. So this is normal automation or a normal digitization that we do in our organization. But it is not about digital transformation. Digital transformation initiatives, the key thing is customer has to be at the middle of anything. Customer experience has to be at the middle of anything and everything we do. And This is the same slide that customer experience has to be the center of digital transformation. If you feel that you're doing a digital transformation, we heard certain examples that if I just put in, for example, an AI, or I just put in maybe a 3D printing or whatever technologies we spoke about earlier. But at the end, if they're just for magazines or for webinars or for other stuff or social media or for awards, then it is not about digital transformation. If these have been put keeping customer at the center of all our initiatives, then it could lead to a digital transformation culture within the organization. So we need to keep in mind that if we are doing digital transformation, single most focus point has to be customer. Now I'll come to this particular question which someone really asked, rightly so. What digital transformation is not? Again, we'll spend a couple of minutes, 2-3 minutes over here, and let me just hear certain things as to what digital transformation is not.
So while people actually put in their questions, Vijay sir, while people put in their comments on the chat, I think there was one question which was relevant to what you spoke about earlier around culture and mindsets. So one of the question was, how do you change or how do you address the resistance to change that is there in organizations? Because that is where cultural transformation happens as well, right? So there is a lot of baggage that people carry, and there is a lot of resistance to change.
The question as we move forward, the resistance to change, I'll answer this.
Okay.
Okay. Any other question? I'm noting down all these questions, including the earlier one on the skill set, and then I'll answer this. Go ahead, Mukesh. Any other questions?
So there are a couple of questions here. So where should we start the digital transformation journey? Front end, back end, operations, where? And what are the key functions that need to be prioritized in terms of the function? And how do you budget them? How do you find the money and how much is enough and how much is not enough?
Okay.
And where do you find that money from? Maybe that's a derivative of the question.
That's the easiest part. You find the money from your own organization. So money you will get in case you get value out of it. So if you're willing to spend 1 crore and show to the business that you are getting a 5 crore value out of that, you will surely get money. But if you say that I want to spend 1 crore and after 5 years I'll give you 2 crores, I'll say I'm not interested. I'll rather put it in bank. Yeah. So at the end, money allocation is all about prioritization, and that's where. So what are the key functions? Where do we start? I think the answer is, to my mind, very simple. It has to keep number one customer at the mind. So when you do a diagnostic study, when you look at what are those key areas which are today kind of ensuring that you do not deliver a good customer service or a good experience. For example, if you are a warehouse and you want to deliver goods to some customers, but if your warehouse doesn't know where that particular packet is kept and you take 2 days even to find out, or your inventories are not reconciled, and that is really finally impacting your end customer experience or service, maybe that's a starting point. If it is that the customer doesn't know how to approach you, he is calling you on those 5 numbers that you have listed down on internet, and maybe then the starting point could be that. Maybe in some cases it could be manufacturing, that okay, you are not. So while I could say that I'm willing to make this in next 2 days, but my production plan doesn't even allow. I don't even know as to whether I'll be able to make these things in 2 days or dispatch these things in 3 days. So maybe you have to start that. So it will depend on each organization. Look at the customer, look at the customer experience, look at the things which are really impacting what part of your entire value chain is today hurting you most from providing a good customer experience. That could be a good starting, or not a good, that has to be the starting point as far as I'm concerned. Mukesh, any other question? Or what it is not, any comments that have come in?
There's a comment that digital transformation is not about technology. And
it's not about technology. Fantastic.
It's also, he also says that, when we say customers, we should include both internal and external customers.
Of course. Second part, I fully agree. Customer doesn't mean end customer, because I can serve the end customer only if I'm able to serve my internal customer. If your materials department cannot serve their production department cannot serve their sales department cannot serve the dealer or distributor or ABC or XYZ, how can you really serve or provide good customer experience to the end customer? So it is the entire value chain, but at the end, the final customer who pays has to be at the center stage. So maybe for the person who said digital transformation is not about technology, if you can just hear him or her out for a minute, and then we can move on.
Murli, if you would like to unmute yourself and share that, maybe elaborate on that a little bit.
Who is it?
Muralidhara.
Muralidhara. Yeah, Murli.
Hey, this is Murli here. What I'm referring is basically it is not about the technology. It's about the entire paradigm of the shift, basically. That's what I meant to say. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. I can hear you. Yes, Murli.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you, Murli.
Okay. When I say it's not about technology, everybody talk about only SAP or IoT, AI and MI. That's what I'm referring. It's not only technology. It's built about entire all the forward integration and the backward integration. That's what I would like to highlight here.
Sure. Thanks. Mukesh, any summarized version on what it is not? Or shall I move on?
So DT is not about IT transformation, is what I got. Is also I have a message which says that it's not about digitizing existing processes and take it online. It's about challenging the status quo and doing things differently, or in a way reimagine how things can be.
Wonderful. Okay. So I just wanted to take few minutes on 9 myths about DT as to what people think digital transformation is and what it is not. So let's start. People think it's about technology. And that's why, Murli, I wanted to just share. It is not at all about technology. I fully agree with you, Murli. It's about customers. I want to transform my company not because somebody has come up with a new algorithm under AI or ML or ABC or XYZ, because I want to provide a good customer experience. So each one of us needs to, number one, think that digital transformation is not at all about technology, which also as a corollary means digital transformation does not mean that it should be done by IT department. Keep that in mind. Second, people think that digital transformation is about disrupting everything. I'll change everything in my company. No, it's not. It is about just putting your customer experience at the center of everything. Only those activities which will lead to a better customer experience should be done. Otherwise, you can't be just changing the entire world. So it's not about disrupting everything. Digital transformation will replace physical, which means that my company will go totally digital. I'll not have maybe shops. I'll not have this. Everything is digital. Customer will come. They'll wear some glasses at their home. They will really look at how the product looks like. They will just buy. Everything is gone. So there's nothing called. So in the world, maybe in future, there'll not be anything physical. That's not digital transformation. It will actually enhance physical. So we need to keep in mind that whatever we are doing, so if a customer is going to a shop to buy something, can I really provide a better customer experience? Customer is going to a laptop to buy something, can I give a better experience? Customer is going on his or her laptop or a mobile phone, can I give a better? So digital transformation is not going to replace physical. In fact, it is going to enhance physical. The question which came, digital transformation will cost too much. Oh, why do it? It will cost me 100 crores. Why bother about it? Who will give money? Where will money come from? Where will I prioritize? What projects I have to close? Do I really reduce my SAP AMC so that I can pay for it? It's not at all about money, as I said. It's about value. Once you start thinking that it's about value, companies would start pumping in money. If we know that by spending, as I said earlier, 1 crore, I'm getting 10 crore, 5 crore, 20 crores out of it. Why not? I'll rather not expand somewhere else. I'll not do expense somewhere else. but I'll put money over here. So that's what we need to do. Another myth is that digital transformation is only about large company. Oh, Hero is a large company, they can do a transformation. I'm a small MSME, I'm just a 100 crore company, I'm a 300, 500 crore company. Why should I bother about digital transformation? It's only large companies, rest everybody is to continue. I put in a website, mobile app, and I'm transformed. Same thing I repeat, as I said earlier, it is about customer experience. Whether you're a small company, whether you're a large company, at the end, each one of us has an experience as a customer. So digital transformation is about giving that customer a superior experience. Company is totally immaterial. Another thing which is digital transformation will lead to people losing jobs. Reality is 20 years back, 25 years back, many companies implemented SAP. How many have actually lost? And people used to come back, resistance to change at that time. It will lead to job losses. Everyone would say SAP is sab aadmi pareshan, nikal denge, all those things would. But today you tell me, if you had an IT team of 5 people over at that time, 20 years back, just without SAP, how many people in your own teams are managing SAP? Just the SAP piece, forget anything else. Has the number increased, reduced, or increased significantly? So much that you are just wondering whether we really need so many people. So again, it's the same resistance to change which comes even today. So one of the biggest ways you can really remove that resistance to change is when you have an honest communication with people as to why you're doing, how it will help, and how it also you have to allay their fears. So it's not about their losing job. It's about customer service. It will ensure that as a company we will grow. So it is about enhancing skill sets of employees. At that time, 20 years back, 10 years back, people would do some small programming, people sitting in some corner. Now they call themselves as the consultants in all those areas. So that's where the skill sets have improved. So digital transformation will lead to that. Okay, now I know AI. Even a guard, for example, the guard who at our factory, who earlier would just maybe do some small thing on an Excel or Word in case he's free. Now he's running an RPA, a robotic process automation. I'm sure at home he'll be telling his kids or adosi padosi that yes, in my organization I'm also responsible, because he knows as to if I've implemented RPA at the gate when the driver comes in. So he also understands. So his own skill sets have increased. We have given him training on that. So it's not just the IT team, but across the value chain, the skill sets will really increase. It's not about people losing jobs. This is what I've spoken earlier. People think that digital transformation and digitization are the same thing. They are absolutely very, very different things. Digital transformation, as I've been saying, is about significantly enhancing value. While digitization, automation is about making current processes faster, cheaper, easier, better. I integrate to particular systems. So rather than one bringing in data over here, putting in over there, someone doing an entry in Excel sheet and doing an upload, someone creating a manual invoice and maybe automating that invoice. That's just digitization. Whereas digital transformation is very different. It is about how can a digital technology really significantly enhance the value that is being delivered to the organization. Digital transformation is IT baby. Nobody else needs to, because it's digital technology likha hua hai piche, so we should be doing. So it's all about IT, it's about CIOs, it is about the realities. It is about business. We are transforming business. We are transforming processes. We are transforming the business models. It's not about IT. So even if a CIO does not lead digital transformation, I think maybe that's better. So digital transformation is not at all about IT. And the last myth is, okay, we waited for cloud for 5 years. We waited for analytics, mobility for many years. We were not too sure whether cloud will reign. Is digital transformation one of those myths which will again be a new buzzword which will be there? So it can wait. It is already a necessity. Customer experience, customers have changed. The fundamental thought process among customers, their expectations have really changed. Each one of us as customers. I'm not saying that customer is something whom we don't know, but each one of us is a customer. So when we go to a website of a bank, what do we expect? Our expectations are very different. You go back to bank 5 years back, 7 years back, you'll be happy to stand in a queue for maybe half an hour, 45 minutes to get your passbook updated. Today, I don't even know whether there's a concept of passbook in a bank or not. I don't even know. Because, and if my website or a mobile app for the bank takes more than 30 seconds, I say I don't have time. Only I would take 1 hour even to go from my home to a bank, and I'll be happy that I reached because there's less traffic. So that's where the entire expectations are changing, and digital transformation is really becoming a necessity. Now, if this be the necessity, what are the things that I need to take care of? What are the things I should be doing or not doing? So maybe again we'll spend 2-3 minutes over here. Mukesh?
Sure.
What would be the do's and don'ts kind of thing?
So while we wait for comments to come in, I think one of the questions or one of the comments was that you will only realize value after you invest, right? So yes. You spoke about delivering value and discovering value. So in terms of ROI, so that was a comment that was made.
I fully agree with whosoever said that, but the reality is, while you are making a business case, while you are thinking about it, you need to see as to what do you want to achieve. You can't be just getting into a journey and then say, I can't be starting from Delhi and then take a 3-hour journey and then decide whether it's Jaipur or Chandigarh or Agra. So there has to be something in our mind that this is what I want to achieve from value perspective. This is where I am. And then how do I, and if you really look at the first slide that I made from for digital, I said it's a roadmap. You need to decide, and that's where you'll get a fair understanding of what value you can achieve. Finally, you achieve 90% of that or 110%, I think logically the difference would be plus minus 10-20%. It can't be a plus minus 100%. And that's where if you do any digital transformation project, lot of work, lot of time, lot of effort goes into the planning piece rather than just jumping into the technology.
Execution. Yeah. So I think there are a couple of comments which are coming up. So one is around change mindset and culture. So that's the first thing that you need to work on. Then there is a comment which talks about, you need to listen to the customer and what they want, and then look inward in terms of, what needs to change in order to satisfy what the customer wants. Then there is a comment around business case. You need to approach the business and then look to create a business case and then present possibilities in terms of how that business case can be realized through technology and look for what is possible. Yep. Then there is this comment around redesigning the organizational structure itself, which makes execution of a cohesive customer experience possible. Strategic capabilities, change management, and all of that. Right. So security seems to be an important point as well. So now, then there is a question. It says, should we start with the business outcomes and the new business models you're going after and work backwards from there to map the digital transformation measures?
Absolutely. The answer is yes. Absolutely. You can't be just starting from the current piece. Otherwise, what would happen is that end result would always be suboptimal. So I think from my systems and say that these two systems are not integrated, these two processes are not automated, so let me just do this. End result is suboptimal. But if I look from the end objective that this is what I want to achieve, and then from that perspective, maybe some of these things I do are right, some of the things which I do don't even need to be done, and something else needs to be done. So moment you take that view, and I agree with someone who said that take an outside-in view, look at what customer wants and then see what's there in your internal thing and needs to be changed. Whereas if you start from inside out, you'll be just doing incremental, and inside out is more automation, more digitization, whereas outside in is more digital transformation. Mukesh, any other comment before I move?
There's only one comment. How do you calculate investment ROI, or how do you ensure that? So that's another comment that.
So there are enough ways and means of doing ROI. So we'll come to that. I'll just note over
Yeah, sure.
in the interest of time. So I'll give you a few tips. How can you unlock the potential of digital technologies for transformation, and what you should be doing or not doing either. First, just because I'm doing a digital transformation, don't rush out to find consultants. I go to Google, I ask all my friends, put it on all these CIO WhatsApp groups. Oh, who all have done digital transformation? Which consultants did you use? Did you use Big Four? Did you use a small one? What did you do? That's a wrong starting point for any digital transformation. So if you want to do true digital transformation in your organization, do not rush out to find consultants. Okay? What do you need to do? See your own business strategy. See your own business goals. What do you want to achieve? Look at what your customer is saying. And then decide what the benefits of it would be, where ROI would come in, what will be the cost, what are the risks associated. Not that anything and everything is really amenable to be done, because there's a cultural aspect, and I'll come to cultural aspect. So what are the risks associated with doing it? What are the time involved? So do that entire thing and then make a roadmap as to what I want to do, rather than just calling in pitch from 6 consultants and say that मेरे को digital transformation करना है. You present, and then based on those 6 presentations, I make my own PPT and present it to my boss that this is what digital transformation should be. Because with all due respect to all the consultants, they would be very good in technology. They'll be very good in the entire transformation journey. They are required. But your current state of affairs, both from a customer expectations perspective and your insight, what is going on, and the culture piece, they are not aware. So, and what your own business strategy is, what do you want to achieve as a company in next few years, they are not aware. So first decide that and then call whomsoever you want to call it. So while you're using experts, we need to leverage insiders. A lot of time, people want to do digital transformation and say that, what does the internal people know? If they knew, they would have done a lot of stuff. Reality is, it's the internal teams which would have huge amount of knowledge about processes, about the issues that they are facing, issues about what the customer is facing. And that's where you need to leverage your insiders and also use experts. So it has to be a combination of both the guys. You can't really say that either insiders or experts only can do this job. Second, don't get into, so first is don't chase consultants. Second, don't get into trap of chasing best technology. Again, I write on some groups, I go to Google, start searching best AI software in the world, best ML provider, best IoT platform on earth. And I say that since as a company I can afford, let me just do it, and that will help me in transforming and make a digital transformation. No. Digital transformation is not about chasing best technology. Actually, it is not about technology at all. Digital transformation is only about culture. It is about the culture. Technology is just assisting you in changing that culture. But digital technology fundamentally is not about, digital transformation is fundamentally not about technology. It is about culture of the organization. So we need to focus on mindset. We need to focus on culture. And someone rightly started in the beginning that is one area that we need to really focus on. What do you need to do? Number one, of course, there are a lot of things that you need to do from changing the culture perspective. But some of the things is, as an organization, you need to start taking risks. Most of the companies do not want to take risks. If I'm running a particular software, if it is running, why even bother? Why take panga? Chal raha hai na, chalne do. Why bother? Kuch nahi hota. We need to encourage, if you want to change the culture of the organization and get into a digital transformation, you need to encourage experimentation. Fail fast, fail cheap. There will be a lot of failures. In many of these experimentations, you need to, when you do, you fail fast. But learn from those mistakes. So someone asked as to what I do with my own team. For example, we actually run something called special project. There are other things that we run where many of these people are just asked to pitch in for some of the areas, some of the new technologies, whatever they want to do. They are given budgets. Many of them fail, but some of the good, very nice projects that have come out of many of those experiments. And even if you spend, say, there are 10 projects which people are working on, and you're given each one of them 4-5 lakh rupees, and you spend 30, 40, 50 odd lakh rupees. But even if one project out of that gives you 5 crores or 2 crores, that entire 50 lakhs, number one, is worth from a money perspective. But second, just think of the amount of knowledge enhancement that each individual has gone through while you're doing this experimentation. That's helping. And I know there could be a few consultants also on the call, but reality is that when your own teams are competent, your dependence on consultant goes down, because otherwise you will be just led by whatever you are being told. So that really helps you in reducing costs also in a big way. So that's where you need to encourage experimentation. From a culture perspective, culture always flows from top. You cannot do digital transformation if your C-suite ownership is not there. If your top leadership does not own digital transformation, your culture would not change, your digital transformation will not happen. So if you have a team which says that, okay, you do all the digital transformation, which is fine, everything is fine, but when it comes to reporting, please send me that entire thing from your systems into a good PowerPoint slide. Send me those 3 printouts of PowerPoint slides, because in the meeting I need to see them. They have to be colored printouts and not anything else. And let me see what can be done. Then that's not C-suite ownership. So if you have to transform the organization and change the culture, and if you know that your C-suite is going to look at data which is actually from systems directly, the guy right at the bottom of the organization will put in the right data. Right now he knows that if anything goes wrong, he can always say that nahi, wo to PowerPoint mein change karte galti ho gayi. Maybe in the Excel the formula was wrong. Whatever, you can always get into any of those. So if you want to actually transform, and then C-suite also has to take that, they also have to show you that they are also willing to use digital technologies in a big way. It's not that for me everything is just Excel, Word and PowerPoint, but you use all the AIs, MLs, IoTs, whatever, but I'm not interested. So we need to get C-suite ownership. We need to focus on mindset, both of the top management and the top layers in the organization and the bottom layers. So it's not just at the top, but also bottom. I gave you an example of the guard, but whether it's a guard or people at the lowest levels, they have to get into a mindset that yes, in my job, whatever job I'm doing, this will someday really contribute to the good customer experience. I need to use these things, and this is how I'm helping the organization. So whatever, even if I'm putting in a small data, it has to be right, it has to be in time, whatever work has been assigned to me, and that's where culture will start changing. And we need to focus on mindset across the organization. There are times we just take the mindset change only at a particular level where we think that these are the guys who need to be changed, rest everything. But the resistance to change could come either at the top or at the bottom. They always say that the neck of the bottle is always at the top, and that's where huge resistance could come in. So we need to change the mindset at the top, and at the bottom it is equally important, because those are the guys who are really changing, using the systems in a big way and ensuring that the data builds up. Most digital technologies provide possibilities for efficiency, gains, customer intimacy. But if the mindset is not there, DT will only magnify those flaws. As they say that if you digitize a flawed process, if you automate a flawed process, if you automate an inefficient process, it will actually lead to more inefficiency. Similarly, digital technology. So I put in a fantastic looking mobile app. I have done all this, but my backend, I have no clue of what is happening. It will only magnify those flaws, nothing else. It will actually lead to more frustrations across the value chain. Collaborate with key stakeholders, someone rightly put in earlier. So digital is not just about you, not about the organization. You need to take care of your customers, you need to take care of vendors, other stakeholders, and then say, how can really all of us contribute to transforming the entire experience? So it's about collaboration. It is about taking the entire value chain with you. And finally, if you have to drive digital transformation into the organization, you have to have a digital culture which is part of the organization's DNA, where you think, sleep, everything, thinking digital. Not really that, okay, just because I have to do it, I'm doing it. And that's the biggest thing as far as the culture change is concerned. The next point which someone asked me, and I think that's a very, very important point where you need to set up right teams. What happens is the biggest issue that comes in many of these new technologies is how do you bridge the skill gap? So, for example, you need to invest a lot in training. Just since someone asked about our team. So I know that in last maybe 2 months, and during this lockdown, if I just take the month of June, I think these guys did almost 300 or 350 odd courses ranging from 10 days to whatever, 20 days. So each day might be 2-3 hours. So 30, 40, 50, 100 hours courses just on various aspects of digital transformation. So on various technologies and other aspects. So you need to focus a lot on improving the skill set of your team. If you think that just because someone has been good at SAP, someone has been good at Oracle, someone has been good at a particular thing, he or she will automatically be good at digital transformation, answer is no. You need to focus a lot on enhancing skill set. You need to get people who understand it. Not just because I speak good English, so I can be, or I know those 4 words because I've read that in either on internet or newspapers, so I know everything about digital. It doesn't work that way. Get people who have done it. Or if you don't have, at least get people who have passion. In your own teams, you can always find people who have passion to do something very different. Get those people. They are your best people for doing this. I think this is one area, if you really want to move your needle on digital transformation in a big way, as companies, we need to focus on data analytics. Most of the companies do not focus on data analytics. So the data analytics which is there in the organization has to move from nice to have to must have. We always think that just because we have created 4 dashboards, so some 4 fancy looking graphs which come on my mobile phone or laptop, that's data analytics. That's not data analytics. The moment you look at many of these technologies and other stuff, I think if you have to look at the customer experience, way the entire thing is working, the amount of data which is coming up in these days is so high. So you need to ensure that as an organization, you have a mindset of data, using data, and data analytics is at the top of the things that you do. We need to build early successes. These are not the projects where you say that, okay, I am doing digital transformation. My first output would come after 6 months or 8 months. It doesn't work this way. So you need to ensure that you really build early successes over here. This was a point which came earlier. How do you address the resistance to change? 2 key reasons why people resist. Number 1, they fear losing job. Number 2, they fear losing their importance. I am a dada, I have been doing all these things for many years. How can someone else take it? How can a technology take over whatever I've been doing? My position, my power is coming because I'm the one who has been doing all this for the last 5 years, 10 years, 40 years. Or will I lose job? So number 1, we need to recognize that people could be apprehensive, people would be apprehensive. We need to address each of those fears. Have a nice communication and then do it. One of the biggest things for digital transformation is also that we need to be agile in decision making. You can't be just waiting for years and then say that, okay, I want to digitally transform. So the speed of decision making has to increase. And finally, always remember, when you're talking of digital transformation, it's a journey. There's nothing called I am digitally transformed. No one can on earth say that I'm a digitally transformed organization. Because the moment you do something, the customer expectations have changed, the culture has changed, technologies have changed, everything is very different. So it is not a destination. There's nothing called that tomorrow morning I'll start and within 3 months, 2 years or 4 years, I'll be a digitally transformed organization. It is just a journey. It's not a destination. It is a means to an end. And what is the end? End is survival of the organization, growth of the organization, getting better business value, getting superior customer experience. That is the end. And digital transformation is just a means to achieving that end. And since those things are changing on a daily basis, that means that whatever steps you are taking from journey perspective, you need to continue that on a regular basis. 20 years back, 15 years back, when we implemented SAP, all of us thought that SAP lag gaya, ab to life bahut badhiya hogi. There's no further technology that needs to be added into our IT system. But today, just think, SAP may be just 5% or 4% or 1% of your entire IT landscape. Whereas maybe 15 years back, we had put in all those teams of hundreds of people and everything and said that maybe that's the 90% of your entire. So similarly, because technologies have evolved, and when I say SAP ERP, I'm talking about that. So similarly, over here, things would continue to evolve, change. So don't think that I'm ever digitally transformed. It's just a journey. So last part, will DT solve all my problems? Okay, I have done digital transformation, सब कुछ बढ़िया, अब तो कोई टेंशन ही नहीं है लाइफ में. Answer is very simple. It will not solve all my problems. So just because I'm digitally transformed doesn't mean that all customers will come running into my showroom and say that, okay, please buy. Why buy? Because you are a digitally transformed company. Or all my employees would be happy, all my production will happen on its own because I'm a digitally transformed. Or all my problems of, say, pandemic are gone because I'm a digitally transformed. Or other business issues are resolved. If you think DT can solve your business problems, all your business problems, then you don't understand your business problems. And you don't understand DT because it is just a means to an end, one of the means. There will be other activities, actions that we need to, each one of us needs to take. But it is a big, big action into that thing. However, digital transformation can't solve all my problems, but it can significantly help organization enhance customer experience, reduce costs, improve efficiency, improve quality. And of course, you understand what I'm saying, ensuring survivability of the organization. Because there's a question that someone asked as to where do I get money? Why should anyone give me money? Because if I can prove that it is going to enhance my customer experience, it is going to reduce costs, improve efficiency, improve quality, and if nothing else matters, they don't understand any of this. Where it will help me survive the company, otherwise company band ho jayegi. Automatically, you'll get all the things that you want. So let's just summarize. I know I'm conscious of time. We are already 12:26. Digital transformation is not an option today. Some of us who may think that digital transformation I can do after 5 years, 10 years. No, it has to be done today. It is not just about growth and profitability. It is also about survival. It is about, and that's where when Mukesh, you used the word reimagining, that's why I was wondering. Digital transformation is actually about reimagining your business. It's about thinking about your business in a very, very different way as to how my business would look like. From the new customer expectations, how will it look like? Reimagining of business in the digital age is digital transformation. And that for that, whatever needs to be in, whether I need to put in certain technologies, whether I need to change the culture in the organization, whether I get into data, whatever I need to do, that's where I reimagine the entire business and say that this is how I can transform myself. So you need to think of all the business processes. So while you're reimagining, you think of all the business processes within your organization. I do this, I do this, I do this. All the user experiences, internal customer, external customer, and the culture that has been created throughout the years. मेरे को तो कागज पे 3 जगह sign नहीं होंगे तो मेरे को वो कागज मतलब approval करने मजा ही नहीं आता. That's a culture that has been created over the years. So you need to look at each of those, how the company has been operating, and then just do a blue sky thinking and do a imagination as to, with all the new things, how will my organization look like? How can I reimagine the organization? That's what the digital transformation aim and goal has to be. It's no longer a future vision. It's not next year we'll see, next to next year I'll call up a KPMG, IBM or maybe whatever other organizations, Deloitte or anyone, and say understand as to what digital transformation and then decide karna kya hai. It is something which has to start now. And it's already been done in many organizations. You may think that it's very easy just putting in those things, but as someone rightly said, changing the culture of the organization is the hardest thing. Ensuring that you take care of resistance to change is the hardest thing. So digital business transformation is not going to be an easy task at all. However, you still need to do it. Either to remain competitive or even exist. If you don't do it, it's a hard thing to do. It's a very difficult thing to do. But if you don't do it, chances are you may not survive after 5 years, 7 years. So each one of us needs to do it. As I said earlier also, someone also said, it is less about technology. While the word digital really says that it's about technologies, actually it is less about technology. It is more about culture. It is about the entire mindset of the organization as to what it is. And in this entire thing, one of the key things is agility. We need to move really fast on this one. If one has to just summarize, digital transformation is change multiplied. It's about change. And you need to change the organization's culture, and technologies will only multiply or amplify the entire change. So if the change is zero, you put in all technologies, answer would be zero. But if you really change well and you amplify it by technology, so 5 multiplied by 5 would be 25, but 5 multiplied by 0 is 0. So digital transformation has to start with culture change. The change part, ensuring resistance to change is taken care of. The mindset culture really becomes that. And then technology can only help in multiplying and amplifying the entire. As I said earlier, it's a journey. It's not a destination at all. And each one of us really need to think, you need to think, are you really ready for going ahead with this? Let me thank each one of you and also wish you all the best in your DT journey. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay positive. Thank you very much. I'll just stop share at this moment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think there are a couple of comments or questions that
we'll
I
take
would
5.
like to.
We're already at 12:31. What was the time that we...
Till 12:30 is what we had originally
That's
planned.
how I planned 12:30. Okay, so 5 minutes. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So one of the question was in terms of, are there any key lenses and filters that you need to apply when you are selecting, which projects to pick up first and which project to pick
I
up
think
later?
I spoke
Yeah.
about that. So there
Customer experience is what you said.
One is customer experience. There's another lens that I put in, which maybe you missed it, where you also need to build early successes. So it's not that you take the toughest project and then say that, well, let me first take care of this and then I'll see others. You need to start building confidence in your entire ecosystem. So you need to also take some of those areas which are easier to implement, some of those people where you can easily show success, so that number one, you learn from that and not repeat the mistakes. But more importantly, it brings in confidence of all other people that yes, if this can happen in this particular pocket, this can happen in the other part. So you also need to do from that perspective also.
Yeah, so I think with the last question that we'll probably address is in terms of do organizations need a chief digital officer, or is that a role that a CIO plays, or how do you, from an organizational setting perspective, what are your thoughts?
No, I think that's a fantastic question. So there are organizations which do have a CIO and a CDO. There are organizations which have a CDO role being played by the CIO. There are organizations where CDO reports into CIO. So all the three models are there. So there are organizations who also had a CDO and they have removed CDO and given that to CIO. So I think, to my mind, any of those can be the model. I don't think there's any model which is right or wrong. It is about the culture of the organization. It is about ensuring that who can really at this point in time deliver superior digital transformation, because digital transformation, as I said, is not about technology, it's about culture. However, the problem that comes is in many organizations, when they put a CDO, they don't call him CDTA, TO, whatever. Chief Digital he or she is not Chief Digital Transformation Officer, but the Digital Officer. And that's where the confusion starts, because that's where the role of CIO and Chief Digital Officer overlaps a lot. But if the person is the Chief Digital Transformation Officer, he actually or she should be better off someone who's not a CIO. That's how I see.
Okay. I think there are a couple of questions around COVID and how it has accelerated digital transformation. So
I think COVID has done what before this call, I was talking to someone, so one of the MDs of one of the large organizations, IT organizations in India, around 10:30 or so in the morning. And his opening thing was that 40 years of IT teams and technologies and CEOs and CIOs could not do 4 months. We have done more digital transformation across organizations. And I tend to fully agree with him.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. I think there are no further questions coming in.
No, I think we'll stop also. It's already 12:35. I have another meeting also.
Yeah.
Thank you,
so
everyone.
Thank you so much, sir, for doing this for us. I will share the recording with all the people who registered as well, so that everyone has a recording. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mukesh, for being a wonderful moderator, and thank you, everyone. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Stay healthy. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye, sir.